Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about quitting on your goals. I got a question recently that was, how do you know when to quit on your goals? Is quitting always a bad thing? That they just asked that first part, but my brain went to, is quitting always a bad thing? Does it make sense to quit? Do you need to power through? And so I wanted to make a video on when quitting is okay and the 5 situations to consider, the 5 things to think about when you're considering quitting a goal. Because I can't sit here and give you like a mathematical checklist of when to quit and when to power through, because there are so many factors at play here in terms of your life, your desires, your goals, your other goal, like the goal you're thinking about quitting, the other goals that you have going on, whatever else is going on in the entire world. There are so many factors at play. So I hope that these thoughts or questions just really get you thinking when you're trying to make that decision, and then just being comfortable with that decision that you're making. And then for you, being okay with that decision right now. It's not forever. You can always change your mind, whether you decide to quit or power through. You try that and you work on that, but then you can always go back and change your mind if you ultimately feel like it was not the right decision. Because sometimes quitting is not a bad thing. I think quitting obviously gets a very bad rap, negative like vibes that we, oh, I'm quitting my goals. Well, sometimes quitting means you're making space for something else. So let's jump into the 5 thoughts, questions, things to think about when you're considering quitting a goal. Number 1 is checking in with your why. You have heard me talk before about knowing why your goals are important to you. And I give the example of a little toddler who sits there and asks you, but why, again and again, when you're trying to figure out what is that core, deep-rooted why to why this goal is important to you. And if you feel that urge to quit coming on, ask yourself, okay, but why is this goal important to me? And you might find that that why has changed. Sometimes the change is really obvious, right? Like you were planning a wedding and now you're married, and so your why naturally has changed for a number of goals. Or like me, all of a sudden now you're pregnant, and so your why behind some of your goals may have changed, which means that there was a goal that no longer applies. So if you ask yourself, why is this goal important to me? And the original why is no longer true. Okay, noted. That why no longer holds. What is the new why? And if you can find one that still means a lot to you, maybe you aren't ready to quit that goal. And maybe you are ready to power through and keep going for a little bit longer. Or maybe you discover that that original why is gone and you can't find a new one right now. Again, this is temporary, you can change your mind, but maybe right now there is not a why that is really driving you. So quit the goal. It's okay. Quitting, again, is not a bad thing. I'm not sitting here and telling you to power through on all your goals and like muscle your way through it. Again, quitting can be a good thing, and figuring out that your why is no longer important to you is a very good reason to be like, I'm no longer going to focus and prioritize that goal. Similar but different, number 2 is asking yourself, have my priorities shifted? So all of us have a limited number of resources when it comes to goals. And I have a separate video going through all the resources to consider when you are thinking about your goals. We talk a lot on this channel about time and time management, and time being your most limited resource. And it absolutely is your, in general, in life, most limited resource. But when it comes to working on your goals, there are a lot of other resources at play. Energy is a big one that I personally didn't really truly value until a couple of years ago, and then even more so within the last however long I've been pregnant, that energy is my most limited resource when it comes to my goals. Time is no longer the issue. It is the amount of energy that I have. And in that video, I go through a lot of other resources as well that apply to working on your goals. So with your limited resources, you can only focus on so many goals and so many action steps at any given time. And if your priorities have shifted, a goal that you might have been working on might have been at the top, or at least on the list of priorities for your limited time and energy and resources. And now your priorities have shifted. And similar to the why, there could have been a catalyst that made it really obvious that you needed to reevaluate your priorities, or it could have just been this urge to quit a goal. And so you stop and think, what are my priorities? What are my current goals that are on my list? How do I feel about ranking them? Actually rank them in priority order. I talk about this all the time, where you can either be somebody who works on a lot of goals and makes a little bit of progress, small progress in a lot of areas, Or you can really prioritize and focus on a small number, 1 to 3 goals, and make larger progress. I tend to fall into this camp. There is no right way to go about goal setting. There's no right and wrong, but it comes down to your personality. But even if I am focused on all of these goals, there's still a priority. There's still a ranking of which goals are the most important. And if I have to cut things based on resources, which ones are getting cut? So take your list of goals and reprioritize it. And if that one that you're feeling the urge to quit is towards the bottom and your resources are limited right now, that's probably why you feel that urge. Let it go. Let that goal go and focus on the ones that are more important to you. Speaking of energy, sometimes when I feel like quitting, I just need a break. That's number 3. Maybe you just need a break. There are times that I get that urge to quit a goal and I think about how much time have I spent resting? How much time have I spent rejuvenating my body, physically, my mind, my soul, my energy levels? Have I been resting enough? And lots of times for me, especially pre-pregnancy, the answer was no, I'm not resting enough. And my least favorite goal is taking the brunt of that. And so that is why I feel like quitting. So what do you need to do? You need to rest. You need to take a break. And this might sound a little contradictory because I talk a lot about momentum and how I want you to keep going. But if you feel that urge coming on to quit, think of it as a break instead. Think of it as a rest period. You need to rejuvenate yourself, whether again, it's physically, emotionally, mentally, or all of the above, before you're gonna be ready to dig back in. So set a time frame. I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna rest, I'm gonna take care of myself, and then I'm gonna pick that goal back up again. Yes, it's still a form of quitting, it's quitting temporarily, but sometimes my desire to quit has absolutely nothing to do with that specific goal, and just in general, my need for rest. Number 4 is to ask yourself, this also they kind of go in order, almost like you don't have to think about all of these, but it does kind of help to start like at the top and kind of work your way down and see if it's one of these things. Because this one is really not about quitting the goal. Because sometimes when I feel that urge to quit, it's not the goal, it's the action step that I'm taking towards that goal. Because the truth is, for most goals, for a lot of goals, there is more than one way to achieve it. There are a lot of different paths, there are a lot of different routes that you can take to achieve that goal that you're working on. So maybe you just really aren't vibing with that action step. And I have shared before how, truthfully, goal setting is a lot of trial and error. And you might find that there are action steps that seem like the best one, that seem like they're going to be the right fit for that goal. And maybe they're the right fit for that goal, but they're not the right fit for you. So if you are working on an action step and you want to quit it, asking yourself, okay, do I actually want to quit the overarching goal? And again, if you've gone through 1 through 3 and the goal's still on your list, you probably don't want to quit that actual goal. You probably just don't want to do that action step anymore. So ask yourself, what are the other action steps that I could take towards achieving this goal? I promise you there is probably another option. There's probably another pathway for you to accomplish that goal. And so brainstorm, what are those other action steps? If you are really struggling with this, come to me in the comments and share what your goal is. Let's brainstorm some more action steps. I actually have a really great series coming up all about action step ideas for specific goals. So make sure you're subscribed. I feel like I've done this in every video I filmed this week because I just mapped out those videos and they're gonna be so good. But additionally, this is why I really encourage you to spend time breaking down your goals when you set them and coming up with lots of action ideas that you could possibly take so that you have a resource bank to go back and revisit when you need other action steps. And that is why having space to break down your goals is so key for me in my goal planner. And one of the reasons why I created my own, because I felt like I couldn't find a goal planner that really had enough space for me to break down all of my goals. And so that's why I created one. If you haven't checked it out, the 2024 version of my goal planner is live. If you are interested in trying it out, I will leave it linked down below and you can check it out. Again, all of the things that I talk about that are important to me when it comes to goal setting, I've incorporated in that planner. And the last step, really, when you get to 5, when I wrote these, I actually wasn't thinking about doing them in order, but now that I'm saying them out loud, like really it does make sense to go in this order. That's probably why they came out of my head that way. You don't have to give a reason. You don't owe anybody an explanation for anything. If there is a goal that you want to quit, You don't owe anybody a reason, including yourself. You do not have to justify it. You do not have to find and dig and be like, well, this and that and blah. Like, no, you don't need any of that. If you don't want to work on that goal anymore, cross it off. There are a lot of goals that I know a lot of people have that are similar, because it feels like everybody else is working on them. And it feels like, well, I should have that goal. I should be doing that. So-and-so is doing that. I probably need to be doing that. Like, And I'm not saying it's bad to have a goal that other people have, but you don't have to justify why that goal is not on your list to anybody. The reason I talk about goals on my channel, in my business, and why my whole business is centered around personal goals is that I believe you deserve to live a life that you enjoy living. And I believe that goals are how you get there. So your goals should align with a life that you want to live. I don't like to use the word should, but I'm gonna use it there. Your goals really should align with the life that you wanna live. So if there is a goal that you wanna quit and it doesn't align with your life, but that's a reason. Like you don't need, that doesn't even need to be the reason. Again, number 5 is you don't owe anybody a reason, including yourself. All right, that's it. Those are the 5 things I want you to think through when you are considering quitting a goal. Remember, there is no right answer. There's no right way to set goals or wrong way to set goals. And you can always change your mind if you decide that you ultimately do want to quit or you want to unquit a goal. You can always change your mind on your goals literally at any time. So if you like this video, if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Or you were playing. I don't know why I'm saying this so many times, because I feel like I need a thing after that and I don't have it in my head yet.